Have you ever wondered how a community living without electricity, tractors, or modern technology makes over $200,000 a year from just one crop? The Amish tobacco farmers have cracked a code that most modern farmers struggle with. While the world rushes toward automation, these families are pulling in six-figure incomes using nothing but horses, hand tools, and centuries-old wisdom. No loans, no fancy equipment, just pure skill and tradition. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how they do it from seed to sale. Trust me, what you're about to discover will completely change how you think about farming and success. Welcome to Amish Forge, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of Amish life, business, and traditions. Today, we're uncovering one of the most profitable, yet least talked about ventures in rural Amish tobacco farming. These hardworking families are quietly earning $200,000 per year, and they're doing it without a single modern machine. No tractors, no irrigation systems, no GPS technology, just faith, family, and a farming method passed down through generations. In this video, you'll learn their complete process, how they select the land, plant the seeds, cure the tobacco, and sell it for maximum profit. Whether you're curious about the Amish lifestyle or looking for farming insights, this deep dive will blow your mind. Let's get started. The Amish tobacco, tradition tobacco farming. Among the Amish isn't just a business, it's a legacy that spans over a century. When the Amish first settled in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and other parts of the Midwest in the 1700s and 1800s, they quickly realized that tobacco was one of the most profitable crops they could grow on their modest-sized farms. Unlike corn or wheat, which required vast acreages to make decent money, tobacco offered high returns on relatively small plots of land. This was perfect for the Amish way of life, where farms are typically passed down through families and kept at manageable sizes. What makes Amish tobacco farming unique is their absolute commitment to traditional methods. While the rest of the agricultural world moved toward mechanization in the 20th century, the Amish deliberately chose to stick with horse-drawn equipment and manual labor. This wasn't just stubbornness, it was a calculated decision rooted in their religious beliefs and community values. They believed that staying connected to the land through physical labor keeps them humble, strengthens family bonds, and maintains their separation from the modern world. The community aspect of tobacco farming cannot be overstated. When it's planting season or harvest time, entire Amish communities come together. Neighbors help neighbors, and extended families work side by side in the fields. This cooperative approach not only makes the work more manageable, but also reinforces the social fabric that holds these communities together. Young children learn the trade from their parents and grandparents, ensuring that knowledge passes seamlessly from one generation to the next. Interestingly, the Amish don't see any moral conflict in growing tobacco, even though they themselves don't smoke. They view it purely as an agricultural product with strong market demand. Their focus is on growing the highest quality leaf possible, which has earned them an excellent reputation among tobacco buyers. In fact, Amish-grown tobacco is often considered premium grade because of the meticulous care and attention given to every plant. This tradition has created generational wealth for many Amish families, allowing them to purchase more land, support larger families, and maintain their self-sufficient lifestyle without relying on outside employment. Land and location strategy when it comes to tobacco farming. Location is absolutely everything, and the Amish know this better than anyone. The majority of Amish tobacco farms are concentrated in very specific regions: Lancaster County in Pennsylvania, parts of Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. These areas weren't chosen randomly. They offered the perfect combination of climate, soil type, and elevation that tobacco plants desperately need to thrive. The ideal tobacco soil is well-drained, slightly acidic, and rich in organic matter. The Amish have generations of knowledge about reading the land. Before purchasing or leasing a property for tobacco cultivation, experienced Amish farmers will literally grab handfuls of soil, feel its texture, smell it, and even taste it to determine its quality. They look for that dark, loamy earth that crumbles perfectly in your hand. Not to sandy, not to clay-heavy. This intuitive understanding of soil has been passed down through families and is more accurate than many modern soil tests. Climate plays an equally crucial role. Tobacco needs a growing season of about 120 to 150 days with warm temperatures and adequate rainfall. The regions where Amish farmers operate provide exactly this: hot summers with enough rain to keep plants healthy, but not so much that it causes disease or rot. The Amish also prefer slightly hilly terrain with good air circulation, which helps prevent fungal diseases that can devastate tobacco crops. Now, here's the fascinating part about farm size. To generate $200,000 in annual revenue from tobacco, an Amish family typically needs between 10 to 20 acres dedicated specifically to tobacco cultivation. This might sound small compared to massive commercial farms, but tobacco is incredibly labor-intensive and produces exceptional value per acre, often $8,000 to $12,000 per acre when properly managed. The Amish strategic approach also includes crop rotation. They never grow tobacco on the same plot year after year, as this depletes the soil and increases pest problems. Instead, they rotate tobacco with corn, hay, or other crops, allowing the land to recover and maintain its fertility. Naturally, seed selection and planting seed selection is where the Amish tobacco farming journey truly begins, and it's a process steeped in both science and tradition. The Amish primarily grow burley tobacco and some air-cured varieties, which are in high demand for cigarette manufacturing and other tobacco products. These varieties are chosen not just for market demand, but because they're well-suited to the manual farming methods. The many Amish farmers save seeds from their best plants each year, creating their own heirloom seed lines that have been refined over decades. They select seeds from plants that showed the strongest growth, best disease resistance, and highest quality leaves. This practice of saving seeds keeps them independent from seed companies and maintains genetic varieties that perform exceptionally well in their specific microclimates. However, some farmers do purchase certified seeds to introduce fresh genetics and prevent inbreeding problems. The planting process starts much earlier than most people realize, typically in late winter or early spring. Seeds are first planted in specially prepared seed beds or greenhouse structures. These aren't modern greenhouses with climate control. Instead, the Amish use simple cold frames or tobacco beds covered with cloth to protect young seedlings from frost while allowing sunlight through. The seeds are incredibly tiny, about 10,000 seeds, weigh just 1 gram. So they're often mixed with sand or ash to help distribute them evenly across the seedbed. During this germination period, which lasts 8 to 10 weeks, the seedbeds require constant attention. Amish children and women often take responsibility for watering the seedlings, pulling weeds, and monitoring for any signs of disease. The goal is to produce strong, healthy transplants that are 6 to 8 inches tall, with well-developed root systems. When soil temperatures reach about 60 degrees Fahrenheit and the danger of frost has passed, usually late April or May's time for transplanting. This is a massive undertaking that requires the entire family and often community help. Using horse-drawn tobacco setters, which are ingenious mechanical devices operated by human power, workers place each seedling into the prepared field by hand. The setter creates a small hole, the worker drops in the plant, and water is automatically released to help it establish. Timing is critical because transplanting too early risks frost damage, while transplanting too late shortens the growing season and reduces yield. Traditional farming methods. What sets Amish tobacco farming apart from virtually all other agricultural operations is their unwavering commitment to traditional, non-mechanized methods. While modern farmers rely on tractors, automated irrigation systems, and chemical applications, the Amish accomplish everything with horsepower, hand tools, and human labor. This isn't a romantic notion. It's an extremely demanding lifestyle that requires exceptional physical strength, skill, and dedication. The foundation of Amish farming is the draft horse. These powerful animals, typically Belgian or Percheron breeds, are the workhorses, literally, of every farm operation. From the moment tobacco is transplanted until it's loaded for market, horses pull every piece of equipment through the fields. The Amish use specialized horse-drawn cultivators to keep weeds under control between the rows, working the soil carefully to avoid damaging the shallow tobacco roots. A skilled Amish farmer can guide a team of horses with remarkable precision. Getting within inches of the tobacco plants without touching them, weed control, is particularly late. Beyond cultivation, there's still plenty of hand-hoeing required, especially close to the plants and in areas where equipment can't reach. During peak growing season, family members spend hours each day walking the rows with hose, removing any competing vegetation. This constant attention prevents weeds from stealing nutrients and moisture that the tobacco plants need. One of the most distinctive Amish tobacco farming practices is topping and suckering. When tobacco plants begin to flower, those flower heads must be removed by hand, a process called topping. This forces the plant to put all its energy into leaf production rather than seed production, resulting in larger, thicker leaves with better quality. After topping, small shoots called suckers begin growing from where each leaf meets the stem. These must also be removed by hand multiple times throughout the season. To ensure maximum leaf development, the Amish also practice worming, manually removing tobacco, hornworms, and other pests by hand. These large green caterpillars can devastate tobacco plants overnight. So Amish children and adults regularly walk through fields inspecting plants and picking off pests. This chemical-free approach produces cleaner tobacco and aligns with their preference for natural farming methods. Water management is another area where Amish ingenuity shines. Rather than using electric irrigation systems, they rely primarily on natural rainfall and strategic field placement to ensure adequate moisture. Growing and maintenance. Once tobacco plants are established in the field, the real work begins. The growing season, which typically lasts from May through September, requires constant vigilance and daily maintenance. Amish tobacco farmers understand that every day of care directly impacts their final profit, so nothing is left to chance. Watering, while heavily dependent on natural rainfall, sometimes requires supplemental irrigation during dry spells. The Amish have developed creative solutions that don't require electricity. Some farms use windmill-powered water pumps that fill elevated storage tanks, creating gravity-fed irrigation systems. Others use diesel-powered pumps, which are generally acceptable within Amish ordning rules, to move water from ponds or streams to the fields. The water is then distributed through simple channel systems or by hand-carried buckets during critical dry periods, especially right after transplanting. Nutrient management is where generations of Amish farming wisdom really shows. Rather than relying on synthetic fertilizers, Amish farmers use massive amounts of animal manure from their horses, cows, and other livestock. This manure is composted throughout the year and spread on tobacco fields, before planting and sometimes as a side dressing during the growing season. The slow-release nature of organic nutrients provides steady nutrition throughout the plant's life cycle, producing superior leaf quality. Compared to tobacco grown with chemical fertilizers, pest control continues throughout the growing season. Beyond the hand removal of hornworms, Amish farmers deal with aphids, flea beetles, and various other insects that love tobacco. Their approach is primarily mechanical and biological. They encourage beneficial insects, use companion planting strategies, and when absolutely necessary, apply organic-approved treatments like neem oil or insecticidal soaps. The acceptance of these treatments varies by community, with some being more strict than others. Disease management is perhaps the most challenging aspect of tobacco growing. Fungal diseases like blue mold, black shank, and mosaic virus can wipe out entire fields. The Amish combat these primarily through prevention, crop rotation, proper spacing for air circulation, removing infected plants immediately, and selecting disease-resistant varieties. Their observational skills are extraordinarily experienced. Farmers can spot the earliest signs of disease and take action before it spreads. Throughout the season, daily field walks are essential. Family members traverse every row, examining plants for any issues, removing suckers, and monitoring overall health and development. This intimate knowledge of each plant's condition is impossible to achieve with mechanized farming. Harvesting process. Harvest time is the culmination of months of intensive labor, and it's when Amish tobacco farms transform into bustling hubs of coordinated activity. Tobacco harvesting typically begins in late August or early September and continues through October, depending on weather conditions and plant maturity. Unlike many crops that can be harvested in a single day with machines, tobacco harvesting is a weeks-long process that requires the entire community's participation. The Amish use two primary harvesting methods: priming and stalk cutting. Priming involves removing individual leaves from the plant as they mature, starting from the bottom and working upward over several weeks. This method is labor-intensive, but produces the highest quality tobacco because each leaf is harvested at peak ripeness. Stalk cutting, which is more common among Amish farmers, involves cutting the entire plant at the base once the majority of leaves have reached maturity. This method is faster and more practical for larger operations. The actual harvest day starts at dawn. Workers move through the fields with specially designed tobacco knives, cutting stalks close to the ground. The cut stalks are then placed onto wooden laths-long sticks that will hold the tobacco during the curing process. Using a tobacco spear, workers impale 5 to 6 stalks onto each lath, spacing them carefully to allow air circulation. This spearing process requires skill and speed, and experienced workers can spear hundreds of stalks per hour. What makes Amish harvesting truly remarkable is the community mobilization it requires. Neighbors, extended family members, and church community members all come together during harvest. It's not uncommon to see 30 or 40 people working a single family's tobacco field. The men typically handle the cutting and heavy lifting, while women and older children manage the spearing operation. Younger children bring water, help with meals, and learn by observing. The harvested, speared tobacco must be transported to the curing barns as quickly as possible to prevent leaf damage. Horse-drawn wagons move continuously between field and barn, carefully loaded with lath-hung tobacco. The timing is critical. Tobacco can't sit in the sun too long, or leaves will sunburn and lose quality, directly impacting the price the farmer will receive. Curing and processing after the exhausting harvest comes one of the most critical phases that directly determines the tobacco's quality and market value. The Amish have perfected the art of tobacco curing over generations, and their traditional barns have become iconic symbols of their agricultural expertise. These aren't ordinary storage buildings. They're carefully designed structures that control airflow, temperature, and humidity to transform green tobacco leaves into the golden brown product that buyers desire. Amish tobacco barns are architectural marvels of simplicity and functionality. Built from wood with vertical siding that can be opened or closed, these barns typically stand 3 to 5 stories tall. The height is essential because it allows farmers to hang multiple tiers of tobacco, maximizing the curing space. The adjustable sideboards are the barn's most ingenious feature. They can be opened wide to increase airflow on dry days or closed tight during rain or excessive humidity. This manual climate control requires constant attention and decision-making based on weather conditions and the tobacco's curing progress. The process begins immediately after harvest, when workers carry the lath-hung tobacco into the barn, using a system of pulleys, ladders, and sheer physical strength. They hang the laths on tier poles, starting from the top of the barn and working downward. This is dangerous, demanding work. Men balance on narrow beams, sometimes 40 feet above the ground, handling heavy, awkward loads of tobacco. Accidents do happen, and the Amish community takes barn safety seriously. With experienced workers supervising younger family members, air curing, which is the primary method for burley tobacco grown by the Amish, relies entirely on natural air circulation. No heat is applied. Instead, the tobacco cures through a gradual drying process that takes 6 to 8 weeks. During this time, the chlorophyll in the leaves breaks down, sugars concentrate, and the distinctive tobacco aroma develops. The barn manager, usually the farm's patriarch, constantly monitors conditions, opening and closing ventilation boards to maintain ideal humidity levels around 65 to 70%. Too much moisture causes mold. Too little makes leaves brittle and destroys quality. Some Amish farmers also practice fire curing for specific tobacco varieties, which involves building small, controlled fires on the barn floor to produce smoke and gentle heat. This creates a distinctive flavor profile, highly valued for certain tobacco products. The fires must be tended around the clock for several weeks, with family members taking shifts to add wood and maintain consistent temperatures throughout the curing period. Farmers regularly inspect their crop, checking for signs of mold, monitoring color development, and ensuring even drying. The transformation is remarkable. What entered the barn as bulky, green, water-heavy stalks emerges as lightweight, brown, aromatic tobacco ready for market. Grading and sorting once the tobacco has fully cured, it enters another labor-intensive phase that significantly impacts profitability. Grading and sorting. This is where the Amish farmers' expertise and attention to detail truly pay off. Unlike modern operations that might use automated sorting systems, Amish families perform this entire process by hand, applying generations of accumulated knowledge to evaluate every single leaf. The grading process typically begins in late fall or winter, when the tobacco has achieved the proper moisture content for handling. If leaves are too dry, they'll shatter. If too moist, they'll mold. The Amish wait for what they call case, a period of high humidity when the leaves become pliable enough to handle without breaking. On these days, the barn doors open, and the stripping operation begins. Family members gather around workbenches or simply sit on the barn floor, pulling individual leaves from the stalks. This stripping process separates leaves into different grades based on position on the stalk, color, texture, size, and overall quality. The traditional burley tobacco grading system includes numerous categories: tips the top leaves, leaf the prime middle leaves, lugs the bottom leaves, and several subcategories within each. Top quality leaf tobacco commands premium prices, sometimes 3 or 4 times what lower grades bring. The sorting requires a trained eye and experienced touch. An expert Amish tobacco sorter can evaluate a leaf in seconds, noting its color uniformity, whether it's too thin or has the ideal thickness, if there are any disease spots or insect damage, and whether it has the proper texture and hand feel that buyers desire. This isn't something you can learn from a book, Young Amish Children. Start learning grading by watching their parents and grandparents, gradually developing the tactile and visual expertise that makes them valuable workers. As leaves are sorted, they're bundled into hands, groups of leaves tied together at the stem end with another leaf. The size and uniformity of these hands matter tremendously at market. Buyers can instantly assess a farmer's skill by examining how consistently and neatly the tobacco is prepared. Sloppy, bundling, or inconsistent. Grading within a hand signals an amateur operation and depresses prices. The entire family participates. In this winter work, it's actually a cherished time in many Amish households. The urgent pressure of growing season has passed, and family members work together indoors, talking, singing hymns, and strengthening bonds while processing the crop. Older family members share stories and farming wisdom with younger generations. A typical family might process 10,000 to 15,000 pounds of tobacco over several months, with every leaf passing through multiple hands for inspection and sorting. Quality control is obsessive. Any leaf showing significant damage, mold, or off-color is culled and placed in lower-grade piles. The Amish understand that their reputation rides on every bale they bring to market. Market and buyers. After months of cultivation, harvesting, curing, and sorting, it's finally time for Amish tobacco farmers to convert their labor into income. The marketing process is fascinating and maintains traditions that have largely disappeared from modern American agriculture. Understanding how Amish farmers sell their tobacco reveals not just business acumen, but also the strength of their community, networks, and reputation for quality. The traditional tobacco auction remains the primary selling venue for many Amish farmers. These auctions, held in large warehouses in tobacco-growing regions, are extraordinary events where hundreds of thousands of pounds change hands in a single day. Farmers arrive with their tobacco loaded on horse-drawn wagons or hired trucks, carefully stacking their baled and tagged product on the warehouse floor. Each farmer's lot is assigned a number and positioned in long rows that stretch the length of massive buildings. The auction itself is a rapid-fire spectacle. Buyers, representing major tobacco companies, walk the rows with auctioneers, examining samples from each lot. The auctioneer's distinctive chant-that-fast, rhythmic calling of bids fills the air as prices are established in seconds. For Amish farmers, who generally avoid worldly entertainments, auction day is an exciting social event. They reconnect with fellow farmers, compare crop quality, discuss growing conditions, and gauge market prices. However, many Amish tobacco growers have developed direct relationships with buyers, bypassing the auction system entirely. These private sale arrangements often yield better prices because they eliminate the middleman and reward farmers who consistently deliver quality. Buyers from tobacco companies actually visit Amish farms, inspect the sorted tobacco, and make purchase offers on the spot. These relationships are built on trust and reputation. An Amish farmer known for excellent tobacco can negotiate premium prices year after year. The community grapevine plays a crucial role in marketing. Within Amish settlements, information about which buyers are offering the best prices spreads quickly through informal networks. After church services, during community meals, or at other social gatherings, farmers share intelligence about market conditions. This collective knowledge helps everyone maximize their returns, reinforcing the community-oriented nature of Amish business practices. Price negotiations require skill and market knowledge. Tobacco prices fluctuate based on national demand, crop size across all growing regions, and quality factors. Amish farmers, despite their separation from modern technology, stay remarkably well-informed. They read agricultural newspapers, talk with buyers, and rely on trusted community members who track market trends. When prices are low, some farmers choose to hold tobacco in storage. Betting that prices will improve a risky strategy that requires financial stability to execute. The actual transaction is surprisingly straightforward. Once a price is agreed, a pawn tobacco is weighed, quality is verified, and payment is typically made by check within days. Income breakdown. Now let's get into the numbers, the financial reality that makes tobacco farming so attractive to Amish families, despite its incredible labor demands. Understanding how a family generates $200,000 in annual revenue from tobacco requires breaking down the mathematics of this intensive agricultural operation. The foundation of tobacco profitability is revenue per acre. Well-managed burley tobacco typically yields between 2,000 to 2,800 pounds per acre, with market prices averaging $2 to $2.50 per pound for quality leaf grades. A single acre produces $4,000 to $7,000 in gross revenue. However, the best Amish farmers, through superior cultivation practices and optimal sorting, regularly achieve $8,000 to $12,000 per acre by maximizing the percentage of premium-grade tobacco in their crop. Let's work with realistic numbers for a successful operation. An Amish family farming 15 acres of tobacco at an average yield of 2,500 pounds per acre produces 37,500 pounds total. If their sorting expertise results in 60% of this tobacco grading as premium, leaf averaging $2.40 per pound, 30% as mid-grade at $1.80 per pound, and 10% as lower grade at $1.20 per pound, the calculation becomes clear. Premium tobacco brings in $54,000. Mid-grade adds $20,250, and lower grades contribute $4,500, totaling $78,750 from 15 acres approximately. $5,250 per acre average revenue. But here's the key: exceptional Amish farmers with ideal land, perfect weather, and masterful cultivation skills can push yields to 3,000 pounds per acre and achieve 70 to 75% premium grading. These operations can genuinely generate $10,000 per acre. With 20 acres at this productivity level, gross revenue reaches $200,000 or more. This level of success isn't common, but it's absolutely achievable and represents what the best Amish tobacco farmers accomplish. Another critical factor is the Amish practice of growing multiple tobacco crops or combining tobacco with other income sources. Many farms dedicate only 10 to 12 acres to tobacco while also maintaining dairy operations, raising livestock, or growing produce. The tobacco provides the concentrated high-value income, while other enterprises ensure year-round cash flow and risk diversification. A family might generate $120,000 from tobacco, $50,000 from dairy, and $30,000 from other crops, reaching that $200,000 total annual income. It's also worth noting that per year can be somewhat misleading. Tobacco is grown once annually, with income arriving in a concentrated burst after harvest and sales. This lump sum payment structure requires careful financial management. Amish families are remarkably disciplined, setting aside funds for living expenses, farm reinvestment, children's future farms, and community needs throughout. The following year, the income supports not just the immediate family, but often extends to multiple generations. Living on the same property or in adjacent homes, 3 or 4 adults might work the tobacco operation together, sharing both labor and income according to family arrangements. costs and expenses. While $200,000 in gross revenue sounds impressive, understanding Amish tobacco farming profitability requires examining the cost side of the equation. The beauty of the Amish approach is that their traditional methods, while labor-intensive, actually minimize many expenses that cripple conventional farmers. Labor costs represent the largest expense category, yet it's here that the Amish model shows its greatest advantage. Because tobacco work is performed almost entirely by family members, there's no wage expense in the traditional sense. The cost is the opportunity cost of family labor. But since the Amish lifestyle centers on family farming rather than outside employment, this calculation works differently than in conventional operations. During peak periods like transplanting and harvest, community labor sharing means neighbors help without cash payment, operating on a reciprocal system where favors are returned later. Some larger operations do hire additional Amish workers during harvest, paying modest day wages of $80 to $150, but this remains far below what mechanized operations spend on equipment and fuel. Seed costs are minimal, typically $200 to $500 per year for a substantial operation. Many Amish farmers save their own seed, reducing this to nearly zero. Tobacco seed is incredibly inexpensive relative to the crop value it produces. A few ounces of seed can plant 15 to 20 acres. Fertilizer represents a moderate expense. While the Amish produce abundant manure from their livestock, they often supplement with commercial organic fertilizers to ensure optimal plant nutrition, especially for nitrogen and potassium. Annual fertilizer costs might reach $2,000 to $4,000 for 15 to 20 acres, a fraction of what conventional farmers spend. Since animal manure provides the bulk of nutrients, equipment, maintenance, and horse care are ongoing expenses. Horses require feed, veterinary care, and eventual replacement. A working draft horse costs $3,000 to $8,000 to purchase, but lasts 15 to 20 years with proper care. Annual horse maintenance, including feed, farrier services, and basic vet care, runs approximately $1,500 to $2,500 per horse. Most tobacco farms maintain 4 to 6 working horses, so total equine-related costs might reach $8,000 to $12,000 annually. Farm equipment, while simple by modern standards, requires maintenance and occasional replacement. A good tobacco setter might cost Babai to Iten Wubai Meiwen cultivators and wagons $2,000 to $4,000. These tools last decades with proper care, so annual depreciation is modest. Total equipment-related expenses rarely exceed $3,000 per year. Land costs vary dramatically by region and weather. The farm is owned outright or mortgaged. Many Amish farms have been in families for generations and are fully paid off, eliminating this expense. For farmers with mortgages or who rent additional land, costs might be $200 to $400 per acre annually, adding $3,000 to $8,000 for a 15 to 20 acre tobacco operation. Insurance, property taxes, and miscellaneous supplies add another $3,000 to $6,000 annually. The Amish typically don't purchase conventional insurance, instead relying on community mutual aid, which reduces this expense significantly. Totaling these costs, a well-established Amish tobacco farm might operate on $25,000 to $45,000 in annual expenses for an operation generating $150,000 to $200,000 in revenue. This yields net profit margins of 60 to 75%, extraordinary by agricultural standards. Challenges and future despite the impressive profitability and time-tested methods, Amish tobacco farming faces significant challenges that threaten its long-term viability. Understanding these pressures reveals both the resilience of Amish culture and the uncertain future of this agricultural tradition. Market volatility represents the most immediate challenge. Tobacco prices fluctuate based on factors entirely beyond farmers' control. Changes in smoking rates, international trade policies, regulations on tobacco products, and competition from foreign-grown tobacco. In recent decades, declining U.S. smoking rates have reduced domestic demand, putting downward pressure on prices. An Amish farmer who received $2.50 per pound one year might see prices drop to $1.80 the next, devastating family finances. Without the safety nets of crop insurance, which many Amish avoid on religious grounds or government subsidies, these price swings can be catastrophic. Regulatory pressures continue to intensify. Tobacco faces increasing restrictions on advertising, sales, and production. While these regulations mainly target manufacturers and retailers, they indirectly impact farmers by reducing overall demand. Environmental regulations regarding pesticide use, water management, and soil conservation also affect operations, though the Amish chemical-free approach often puts them in better compliance than conventional farmers. So there you have it, the complete inside look at how Amish tobacco farmers generate $200,000 per year using nothing but traditional methods, family labor, and generations of accumulated wisdom. Their success isn't just about farming techniques, it's about a lifestyle built on discipline, community, and unwavering commitment to their values. While the future holds challenges, the Amish have proven time and again that their way of life can thrive even in a rapidly changing world. What did you think of their approach? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.